studios of Republic TV. It's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 10, powered by Kentaro, Berger Paints, Nourish and Kurlon Mattress.
Ladies and gentlemen, India has inaugurated a full-fledged war memorial for Razangla heroes amidst a continuing standoff with China. The message cannot be any stronger. And it comes on a day that the Congress has alleged that China's alleged land grab in Bhutan is a blow to our national security. So let's debate.
At an altitude of 18,000 feet, this location in eastern Ladakh's Razangla has witnessed an epic battle in 1962, where over 100 Indian troops inflicted heavy casualties on the Chinese military. 114 soldiers had made the supreme sacrifice. 59 years later, in a most fitting tribute, Modi government has inaugurated a war memorial in Trishul to honor the Razangla heroes. And this comes at a time when India is locked in a standoff with China in Ladakh.
भारत को आंख दिखाकर कोई बच कर नहीं जा सकता। जिस हद तक होगा हम लड़ेंगे और भारत की एक-एक इंची भूमि को बचाने में हम कामयाबी हासिल करेंगे।
The message to China comes at a time when there have been open source satellite images of China possibly encroaching on Bhutan land and building villages in Bhutan territory close to Doklam. An issue raised by Congress, calling it a blow to India's national security. But the same grand old party hasn't paid tributes to the 1962 war heroes. The same Congress who had given the slogan Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. Hear it from Major General Cardozo, who fought the 1962 war.
At that time was that the Indian politicians did not accept the advice given to the Prime Minister that China was an enemy. So the basic message of 1962 is that we were not prepared, and therefore we had to undergo the ignominy of a defeat.
And the message to China comes at a time when India-China talks on the Ladakh standoff continues.
The 23rd meeting on the working mechanism for consultation and coordination on India-China borders was held, and there were in-depth discussions between both the countries. Both the countries decided that they will keep the communication alive, and very soon they must hold 14th round of commander level talks to resolve the outstanding issues and to disengage along the borders so that the tension can ease out. And this meeting was quite important as it was held after 13th of October, and now we can expect the 14th round of talks between India and China soon.
The Modi government has taken a strong stand on China's expansionist policies. India will ensure that territorial integrity is not compromised.
It's a very sensitive military, geostrategic, geopolitical issue. And I would only begin by saying that it is not a subject on which you can have Twitter conversations. And I'm sure most Indians strongly condemn the Congress party trying to make political masala out of this. It's a serious matter, and on issues of national security, the Vadra family and its cohorts would be well advised to take the national line. Abdul Razak Khan, Gokul Chandran is a political analyst, Monojit Mandal, political analyst, DK Giri, Pathikrit Pine, geopolitical analyst, Saurabh Shukla, editor-in-chief of News Mobile, Sushant Sareen, senior fellow ORF. But first, General Bakshi, what's going on? Something's amiss. The statements of the defense minister, completely appropriate. At a time when there are reports of a little bit of a logjam in the talks, and the reports of China building 4 villages between May 2020 and November 2021, entering Bhutan, to whom we give external affairs cover and to some extent defense cover. What's going on? Is something going on? General Bakshi, what do you think?
Arnab, there is more than meets the eye. And to that extent, the Raksha Mantri's statement was most appropriate and timely. It reflects the mood of the nation. Today is the anniversary of the Battle of Rezangla. In that dismal landscape of treachery and betrayal that the 1962 war was, of civilian naivete and credulity in the face of an aggressive and expansionist China, one shining ray of light is this Thermopyle movement of Indian military history, the Battle of Rezangla. Charlie Company 13 Kumaon, 120 boys led by the Tiger, Major Shaitan Singh Paramveer Chakra posthumous. Out of them, 114 laid down their lives. They died fighting, Arnab. And when their bodies were recovered 3 months later, in March 1963, they were frozen stiff in their trenches, their faces to the foe. Their knees, till their knees, they were covered with spent cartridges. You know, and they had beaten back 7 attacks by a Chinese regiment plus about 5,000 men.
Sir, it is the
against
responsibility of
120.
every citizen.
It is Thermopyle all
the
over
right
again.
of every citizen to question the Prime Minister today.
And
I would like to recall the flawless
excuse
statements
me,
made
you
by
can
the
question
Prime
him
Minister
later after
ahead
we
of the
have
general
paid
elections.
a tribute to our men. Can you please?
Change on the right. Thank you.
Can you please let me have the
Yes, he must be allowed to complete.
of saluting our men? You can go to blazes with your protest against the Prime Minister. We would first like to pay a tribute to our brave hearts. You know, Arnab, they beat back 7 attacks. They killed over 800 Chinese soldiers. They stopped the Chinese advance to Chushul. All of them virtually perished, but they saved Chushul, the airstrip, vital strategic airstrip of Chushul. The next day, the Chinese caused a ceasefire, called a ceasefire, because their nose had been bloodied in Rezangla. Their nose had been bloodied in Rezangla by the Ahirs of 13 Kumaon, a valiant battalion, which got the Paramveer Chakra. They got a whole host of awards. When he was dying, he was badly wounded. Major Shaitan Singh had called his signalman and told him, try and get away from here. He wanted to evacuate him. He refused. He said, just give me a machine gun and go. You know, and he told him, go tell them of our story, of what happened at Rezangla. Please, somebody must survive and tell the rest of the world. Tell our countrymen, we did our best. We gave it all that we had. You know, and Arnab, yours is the only channel that will be covering this battle blow by blow this weekend, the Battle of Rezangla.
Yes.
In your series on Shaurya,
Yeah.
the famous battles of India.
Yeah.
Yours is the only channel.
Yes. I want to
So
also
the
say
country
this,
can
viewers.
see
I think
blow by blow.
I think viewers, I'd like to take the opportunity of saying that it is our privilege to host a special documentary on this, held together by General Bakshi as part of our series on the famous battles of India. And that'll be on Republic World, Republic Digital, as well as on our channel this weekend. I'll tell you more times about it later on the show. And of course, General Bakshi, who can forget Rezangla, you know? Who can forget Rezangla? And that the irony is that, you know, those who write our country's history have not mentioned Rezangla. 114 men of Charlie Company of 13 Kumaon took on nearly 2,000 Chinese troops and fought to the death. Question, however, is, and I go back to the present, what's going on? The question is, what's going on? Should we be concerned? Should we be concerned? Is something more than meets the eye?
Absolutely.
What do you think, Saurabh?
I think, Arnab, you know, while we should be concerned, but we have to make sure that we sustain the pressure on China.
Yeah.
This government has dealt with China very strongly. You recall that they broke China's economic muscle in India. The Chinese companies were profiteering out of India, and the government overnight banned some of the apps, despite a lot of pressure from the Chinese apologists who are there in this country. But I must say that while on the military level, on the strategic level, we should put the pressure on China.
But
we
is
should
there a bit
continue
of
to sustain economic pressure.
Is there a bit of my concern is my concern is since there are proven links, since there are certain proven links, and please don't jump when I say this, but Gokul Chandran, Manojit Mandal, there are certain proven and unfortunate official links between a particular Indian political party and the Chinese Communist Party at an official signed, documented level. My concern is that China, my concern is China tries to play, is maybe trying to overplay its hand.
Nothing to do with the present standoff.
No, and it could, 1 minute please. I'm only saying, please don't disturb me. My question is, I'm not asking you, Razak. I'm saying that the Congress party must stop being part of the Chinese propaganda machine right now. They should understand that we have the forces, we have the country, and I think it's necessary, let me ask you, Gokul, it's necessary right now for Priyanka Vadra to understand that she's not exactly a defense expert. Yes, Gokul.
Absolutely.
Arnab, you
is
are not
Priyanka Vadra a defense expert?
You two are not a defense expert. You are just a journalist.
No, 1 second. No, 1 minute. No, 1 minute. 1 minute. Gokul, 1 minute. Gokul, 1 minute. Gokul, 1 minute. 1 minute. First of all, stop. All right? First of all, stop right there. Okay? And I'll qualify it with 2 things. Okay? For the rest of your life, okay? I repeat, Gokul, I'm telling you, you hearing me? For the rest of your life, never tell a journalist, right, Saurabh, that you are just a journalist. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. No, don't use the word just. We are proudly journalists. 1 minute. Saurabh, he says he's
Lieutenant Commander Gokul.
Pardon me, 1 minute. 1 minute.
You can remind that.
What is it?
No.
1 minute. He says you're just a journalist. What does he say?
This is being very demeaning. You must know that
this is Lieutenant Commander Gokul.
Two journalists who have studied international
the person questioning you
strategic studies
is a person who has served with Indian Navy for years. So you don't question my authority.
Yeah, equally. When
you say you are
no. 1 second. Equally, I tell you one thing. You are speaking to someone who has been a visiting fellow at the Department of International Studies at the University of Cambridge. So watch your words, Gokul, when you say just this and just that. So be careful. No, we speak from positions of authority. We speak from positions of knowledge, and I am asking you here, even I will say despite that, despite my professional experience, I will still say without the domain authority and on issues of national security, we ought to watch our words. We don't discuss national security at a political level. That's the point, all right? So now complete your answer professionally without crossing the line. Thank you.
Congress Party and Priyanka Vadra here.
Pardon me? Because she's been tweeting. She says China is grabbing our land, etc. a day before the memorial for the martyrs at Galwan is inaugurated. I'm sorry, it's not a coincidence. And there are established links between the Congress Party and the CCP. There are established and documented links. Are there not documented links? Was there not a signing ceremony? No, 1 second. Was there not? My question is, Pathikrit is on the debate with you. Wait a minute. Was there not a signing ceremony with Sonia Gandhi standing behind, Rahul Gandhi signing, Communist Party officials signing, Jinping standing behind? Or was that a fake picture? Was that a fake picture, Pathikrit? Was that a fake picture? Was that a fake picture?
Is that because...
Was that a fake picture? Was that a morphed picture? Was that a morphed picture? What was being signed?
Is that...
What was being signed?
It's a true picture.
What was being signed?
Let me say...
What was being signed?
That signature stops Modi from taking action.
Show me the document. What was signed?
Does that signature stops Modi from taking action?
No, what was signed?
Does that signature make Modi a coward?
But that signature puts a question on all Congress Party actions vis-a-vis China.
Political parties.
That signature puts a question mark of all of Congress Party action vis-a-vis China. 1 minute. Now answer.
That is not a diplomatic
No.
agreement.
Therefore, I will put a question mark on all your actions unless you disclose what you signed. What did you sign? Why did you sign it? Why did you sign it? Why did you get into an official understanding with the Communist Party of China? And now you want to question what happens in Doklam and you expect me not to question you back?
Arnav, let me remind something. Arnav, let me remind
about
the 2007 treaty. Let me remind about the 2007 treaty. In 1949, India had a treaty with Bhutan.
This is the first time it is happening.
Under that 1949 treaty, under the 1949 Lieutenant Commander, you had spoken enough. Please give others a chance. Lieutenant Commander, you have spoken enough. Let others get a chance. Arnav, in 1949, India had a treaty with Bhutan under which India was supposed to guide. India was supposed to guide Bhutan on strategic affairs, on international affairs. In 2007, under UPA, a new friendship treaty was signed with Bhutan, and it was told to Bhutan, it is up to you. You can decide on your own whatever you do. India will not guide you. India will not interfere. So let me say, first of all, to Honorable Priyanka Vadra, that Doklam is not in India. It is in Bhutan. The issue that was there in 2017 was a road that was being made from Shinchela Pass to Dokala, which came 67 meters from where Indian border starts. It is not part of the 89 square kilometer of Doklam. So that is a Bhutan issue under which the 2007 treaty of India and Bhutan comes a question mark. Why did we allow Bhutan to have a sovereignty on its own and decide international affairs? UPA must answer. Second thing, the kind of deployment India has done today with Shaurya tactical missile, Nirbhay subsonic cruise missile, BrahMos, Akash, S-400, Rafale, Smerch and Pinaka. Tell me, when was the last time UPA made that kind of deployment along the Indo-China border? In 2012, the obsolescence of air defense system was 97%. It was Modi government who worked hard to induct the MR-SAM, which is Barak 8, to induct the S-400.
We are talking about villages built in Bhutan.
What did you do? Tell me, what did you do? Yes, there is a challenge that China is trying to create, and that's why the S-400 is so very critical. That's why the Rafale with the Scarp and the Hammer missiles are so very important, and you are proposing that also. So let us understand, every time there's a problem, you try to pin down Prime Minister Modi instead of discussing what India should do. I think our discussion level has to be risen. Congress does not understand geostrategy. Their only concern is to pin down the Prime Minister who is working so hard. What did you do for infrastructure in the borders? Tell me. You had a scorching hot policy for 60-70 years. You did not develop the border roads. Today the border roads are being developed, and your friends in the the NGOs are filing litigations against the Char Dham project. We are fighting in the court that why should we have strategic roads that can transfer our 42-meter long BrahMos missiles? Have you ever said to those NGOs, don't file litigations against the Char Dham project because those roads are strategic? When was the last time we worked so hard to have that kind of deployment? Tell me that. When was the last time your LCA project was dead? It was the Prime Minister who actually resurrected the LCA project. And let me tell you, next year we would have 36 more Rafale being signed, and you will still shout because for you the security of the country is not important. Today, Bhutan-like countries are in a threat. And thanks to your law that you passed in 2007. What did you sign in 2007 with Bhutan? Tell me. Why did you sign the 2007 treaty?
Chinese army, and you are talking about Rafale jets.
Chinese army that is a Bhutan issue. That is not part of India. Please educate yourself.
You are insulting them.
Doklam is not claimed by India. Please educate yourself.
Life for India.
Please educate yourself. Doklam is not part of India.
Please educate yourself.
Doklam has never been claimed by India.
Regarding the village in Doklam.
Doklam village is not 67 meters.
Lieutenant Commander Gokul Chandran. Okay. First, I would like to also get some others into the debate. 1 minute, please. Okay, now, Lieutenant Commander Gokul Chandran. Lieutenant Commander Gokul Chandran. A minute, please. A minute. Lieutenant Commander Gokul Chandran, who supports the Congress and is speaking live from Thiruvananthapuram tonight. Me.
I'm not supporting any political party.
Okay, now you are not. Okay, I believe that you are not. All right. Now my point is, I just want to make certain observations. If you would allow just a journalist to make a point. Okay, I'll make 5 points. I will hand it over to someone who's far more aware of this and is a bit amused today, Sushant Sareen, but I'll make my 5 points and Sushant can take it forward. I'm dealing with the issue with seriousness. My point number 1, are we in a standoff with China? Yes, but who put India, DK, at a geostrategic and military disadvantage vis-a-vis China over the years, for which the Modi government is having to work extremely hard with time running against it to equalize the situation? It is the Congress party which ruled India. It put China at a geostrategic advantage vis-a-vis India. 1. The Congress party also, under their political asset, the then Prime Minister Inder Kumar Gujral, also compromised their intelligence assets and our covert ability in Pakistan. God knows why. It has been a blunder for our strategic ability. Point number 3. The Congress party, which ruled India for a long time, ensured that almost destroying any infrastructure ability, we reduced our forces to a situation where there wasn't any infrastructure. Today we are having to rebuild everything from our military signals to our military artillery assets to the movement capability of our troops in the entire northeastern region and the border with China. Okay, so Modi government is having to undo a lot of years of what the Congress party did. 4th, the Congress party then went and precociously signed a political agreement with the Communist Party of China, knowing fully well that we are being targeted by them, right? To the extent to which, even when the Chinese were damming the Brahmaputra, right, putting the entire Assam Valley under threat, the Congress party did not speak a whimper. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it is generally believed, though Sushant can put it across better, that it will require a few years, but in 2 to 3 years or 4 years, we will be in a far better situation at equalizing or at least building a substantial military capability vis-a-vis China, and that China, realizing that India is working to speed, realizes that it has some time to gain an edge. We are also in a situation today where we must be extremely careful, because Jinping has to prove something to add to his otherwise dwindling political persona, and the 2 areas he could work could be Taiwan or China. So we must act very responsibly. Okay, now having said that, where are we placed, Sushant? Okay. And Sushant, does the political debate diminish the strategic sensitivity of the subject we are dealing with? Sushant.
Arnab, on the political debate, this is a country of 1.3, 1.4 billion people. There will always be noises like some of the guys on your show. And frankly, I don't take them seriously anyways. But the more substantive thing is the strategic question. So I think the answer to that, at least in my view, is a little mixed. I think militarily, I think Pathikrit put it really well. This government has shown a kind of a resolve which we have not seen in the past. And and as you just recounted, they've taken many decisions, including infrastructure building, including new deployments, including the face-offs, which they have done with the Chinese, not backing down from those. They've happened once or twice in the past as well, but not with the kind of, not in the same manner as is happening now. So all of that has been very good. And there's been a certain amount of realism which has been shown that, you know, you're not assuming that the Chinese will not do anything. So as Pathikrit very correctly put, that you're taking your missile systems out there, you're taking your top-of-the-line aircraft out there, you're going to be deploying all sorts of things out there to face off with the Chinese. To that extent, very good. Where I have a problem with the government, and I think Saurav spoke about it, but you know, that was early on in 2020.
Yeah.
In the last year and a half since Galwan, after the first few steps which we took in terms of, throwing some of the Chinese companies out, not letting them come in, ban on some of the apps, a lot of those decisions which we took. Please look at the trade figures between India and China. You know, if that one leverage of the Chinese we are not going to be able to counter, then what is this game all about? And it's not just us. The other countries are also making the same mistakes. So that is one. How quickly do we decouple ourselves from the Chinese? Number one. Number two, how quickly do we invite the companies which are moving out of China, create an environment for them to come into India so that the economy takes off even much more? I think we have lagged behind. Some steps have been taken, no doubt about it. But are we moving at the speed at which we should be moving? And I have a problem with that. I don't think we are doing it. And the problem is not so much with the top people in the government. The problem is how the lower down guys take what the government tells them. Let me give you an example. And it's very instructive. I will not name the company and I will not name the people involved. After Galwan, there was a thing that Chinese imports will be blocked. Many of the companies started moving into India at that point of time.
Yep.
And one behemoth was moving into India. They were bringing in their entire plant from China and setting up the plant in India. Do you know the bureaucracy in this country is so stupid that they started charging them import duties for plants, thinking that this is equipment, the imports which are coming in, and these guys were saying, look, this is the plant which is coming in. We are going to manufacture these things out here. So what are you charging us for? We are going to give a fillip to the economy. The government had understood it, the bureaucracy did. It took 2 months before you could sort that thing out. Now, if you have an idiotic bureaucracy like that, how do you face up to a country like China, where all full stops are removed? So I think there is a lot more which we need to do on the economic front, even on the strategic front. On the military front, I think we are finding our feet. We need to do more, but I think there is a certain amount of realism. Yeah. But on the strategic field, the kind of alliances we need to make, are we doing that? I don't think so, not at the speed at which we are.
Yeah.
And I think we are still trying trying to hedge our bets.
No, we can't hedge our bets anymore. I think yes, we are doing things. We are speeding up the Char Dham Roads project. We are deploying our new American weapons across the China border. We're speeding up our cooperation with Taiwan. I personally think, DK, that it was very good that the Prime Minister acknowledged contact with the Dalai Lama for the first time. We're carrying out naval drills with Vietnam. We watch this very closely here at Republic. I personally follow it. But I think all I'm asking for, DK, is political maturity at this time. See, there has to be a few things on which you don't do politics, right, DK? You would also say that. Let's not get cheap thrills on these issues. DK.
Yep. Arnab, just allow me a sentence. Just one sentence before the professor comes in. Professor Giri, just one sentence. Arnab, I agree with what you are saying with a caveat. Please. that is only if you do not hate the prime minister more than you love the country. And if you,
this is the point.
Putting down a prime minister because you don't agree with his politics, even though it harms your country.
Equally, I would argue.
You can go abroad and you can say all sorts of things of two Indias and stuff like that. Then then what you are saying does not hold.
No, and equally,
sorry,
if we are to be and sorry if
but
Congress people don't like it, but equally we cannot go to the point of loving the political party so much that we don't speak about the incompetence of the political party's leadership during 1962, because Nehru harmed national interest during the 1962 war. He played down the Chinese intrusion, right? It is a fact. And in Parliament, he played down the Chinese intrusion into Aksai Chin. He said it is a place where not a blade of grass grows. You know that, DK. So equally, I turn that argument around and say, let's be clear now. No. Congress has to change. Yes, at least vis-a-vis China. We won't accept it this way. Yes, please.
Absolutely. I agree with you on your analysis on Congress party's role. But only point is that, BJP has not done enough, and the present government has not done enough to undo the mistakes Congress did. They were also hoodwinked, they were gulled by the Chinese, and including our Prime Minister. So that is my point of departure with you. Sushant Sarin articulated it very well, except that he blamed the bureaucracy. In a democracy, the head of the government is politicians, so bureaucracy is like a horse, and the politicians are horse riders. If you have a bad horse rider, the horse will not go anywhere. So blaming the bureaucracy is only an excuse.
Mr. Giri,
only last point,
I have
someone talked about Doklam is not part of India. That guy is absolutely, that guy is, I think, out of his mind.
Mr. Giri,
Doklam is not part of India. What was doing there then?
Yes, sir.
What
Allow
was
me
Indian
1 minute
government
to contradict what you said, sir.
Yeah.
You are saying, with China, with China, Prime Minister took an initiative, and there was a reason. We wanted to give diplomacy a chance. We wanted to make sure that we wanted to stay like a good neighbor, but China obviously cannot be a good friend. We realized that, we upped the ante. And I completely agree with Sushant that we need to sustain the pressure. We cannot let go because China cannot be your friend. You have to sustain pressure in the multilateral arena. You make sure that on Indo-Pacific, we have to be strident in our approach because China is a clear and present danger, which every political party in India has to realize. Today it's BJP, tomorrow it will be somebody else. But you have to realize you have to live with this enemy right next door.
Correct. In fact, I don't think. Saurabh, all informed voices in this country are in unison saying we all agree who follow geostrategic issues that Pakistan is not an issue for India.
Absolutely.
But China is. And therefore I say that while we build our capacity, we need to be mature. We cannot be knee-jerk about it because democracy is our strength. The Chinese don't have democracy. No, the Chinese don't have democracy, which is why they could downplay their casualties in Doklam for a long time. Monojit.
We should work with other democracies.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Arnab.
Monojit.
Yes.
Monojit,
It's really good to be.
Yeah.
I was quietly smiling in your class. It's good to be in your class as a student, listening to you. Yes, I'm serious about your sort of knowledge on international relations and politics, of course. On a serious note, Arnab, if you remember when the things were going out of hands last year, exactly a year ago, Mamta was one of the first leaders in the country to strongly stand behind the government.
Yeah.
When it comes to national security, we are absolutely one with the government. But you have to also remember that this is the same government. They played the most nasty politics around Balakot during the 2019
There's no relation, sir. There's no relation.
And for
there's no relation there, sir. Please don't. There's no relation, sir.
But Arnab,
there's no relation, sir.
You are an excellent student of history, I know, Arnab. Arnab, let me tell you one thing. I may be sounding quite Puritan, but conflict, war, hatred don't make any resting solution. We have seen during the two devastating world wars, the Europeans were engaged into bloody wars in the span of 20 years, killing millions of people. War, conflicts are no solution to this kind of problem. Yes, we need to have military power, aggressive militarism, but at the end of the day, you need to create some kind of global humanist tradition, idea of global humanism. I am continuously reminded by the idea of Rabindranath Tagore. Prime Minister is a great friend of Tagore. You remember when the Second World War was on, what Tagore was doing? Was trying to understand how the global fraternity can be, bound by the idea of love, not by the idea of hatred. Two wars were fought within the span of 20 years because of hatred.
God, give us a break. Tell that to the Chinese.
Of course, we need to have, yes. I know, sir. Yeah, you tell them to the Chinese. War is no solution. Conflict is no solution to the problem. Look at what
Sir, this is a
invisible virus. We are fighting a united war against a single virus.
May I request you?
This is no time to spread hatred and violence.
Professor Manojit Mandal.
Yes.
You know. I tell you one thing. I tell you one thing. For anything that happens in global affairs, I personally am of the view, and Sushant will agree, that it is important to look at things from a historical and political perspective, but not through a political theory perspective. So kindly don't reduce the India-China equation to a discussion on philosophy and theory, sir. It's a realistic situation I'm talking about. I want to bring in realism here.
At one point of time, we used to be friends. At one point of time, we used to be friends. Remember
Chinese. Monojit, are we to prostrate in front of the Chinese? It is the Chinese who are aggressive. It is not India which is doing the aggression.
Okay, I have to.
Saying that.
Okay. Sushant, in the meantime, viewers, in the meantime, I will.
We were living under a state of self-delusion.
I think what I'll do is. Yeah, Sushant, go on.
So number one, we were never friends with the Chinese. If you wanted to delude ourselves, we can. We delude ourselves with the Pakistanis. Secondly, this nonsense about wars don't solve anything. What happened in Afghanistan? Everybody was telling everybody else wars don't solve a thing. What is the solution which has been imposed?
The Pakistanis and the Taliban imposed war on the Afghan people and solved their problem. What does this guy... Afghanistan problem is solved because after the war...
Are going to be making policy. God help this country.
Could you solve the problem in Afghanistan after war and terror? Could you solve the problem in Afghanistan,
West Bengal? He's not going to be coming to center anytime soon.
Okay, I'll tell. In the meantime, viewers. In the meantime, viewers. I would request everyone. I make a personal request here. I make a personal request here, viewers, that this weekend, especially you, if you have the younger generation with you at home, if you have school-going children, if you have college-going kids, if you are interested, please tell everyone to watch. The show is called Shaurya. General G.D. Bakshi is dedicating this to the nation. The episode this weekend is called 1962 Sentinels. It is a special broadcast on Republic on the Chinese invasion of 1962 and the famous Battle of Rezangla. And General Bakshi, one last 10 seconds from you on why you made this and why everyone should watch this tonight. Would you like to say something, sir? Very briefly.
Thank you, Arnab. Arnab, George Santania said, those who don't learn from history are condemned to repeat it. We are very poor at recording our history, especially our military history. That is why, with your kind patronage, we have done this series of India's wars since independence.
Yeah.
We started with 47, we are covering 1962, Battle of Rezangla, we'll go to 65 and 71, in a chronological order so that we understand what happened.
Yeah.
It's a fact of history, Arnab, that India's first army chief, British army chief, Sir Bob Lockhart went to Prime Minister Nehru with plans to modernize and expand the Indian Army. And you know what Nehru told him? General, we don't need an army. We only need the police. Nobody will attack a peaceful, non-violent country like India. I heard more of that being spewed on this channel 60 years after that tragic war. Have we learnt our lessons?
Yeah.
We need to go over what happened.
Yeah.
That is why in this documentary, Arnab, not only have we covered the battle, we have covered the prelude to the battle and the blunders that we made because of pacifism, because of trying to, pontificate peace to the whole world and forgetting our national security at the cost of our national security.
And as this, I think it was
this philosophical ahimsa
if I'm not mistaken, it was Churchill who said famously that never in the history of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. Can also be said in the context of Rizangla. Ladies and gentlemen, that's this weekend. Thank you so much.